Hello everyone. So today we'll be seeing implementation of cluster analysis using Minitab. So we'll consider this data set on cars, different cars. These are the variables or the characteristics which have been recorded for each car: economy, service, value, price, design, sportiness, safety, and whether it is easy to handle this car. Okay. Remember, this dataset comes from Germany, so the numbers may not be as you expect them because it's the grading is kind of like ranking. So 1 actually means the best and 5 actually means the worst. Sorry, 6. 6 actually means the worst. Okay, so you can see here, for example, for Ferrari, sportiness sportiness it is 1.1, so it's like very close to the best. Okay, whereas as far as price aspect is concerned, yes, it's very expensive, so it's near the low end of the price ranking thing. I mean, it's very expensive, so price wise it is bad, so 5.9. Okay, so 6 is bad, 1 is good. Remember? Mm. Now, we have to classify these cars into different groups using either hierarchical clustering or k-means clustering. So, we'll try both. So, let me first go to hierarchical clustering. So, cluster observations. Remember, we are considering cluster observations. Clustering of variables is something different and it is not part of our syllabus. So, the cluster observations, that is cars using data on these variables. Which linkage method? As I said, generally with continuous data, Ward's linkage is preferred. With Manhattan distance, average linkage or median may be okay. And a distance measure, we will consider Euclidean. Here there is an option to standardize variables. So when we should do that? If our variables are in different units, it may be better to standardize them. Otherwise, we can leave it as it is. Okay. Now, how many clusters we want? So there are two options. Either we can specify number of clusters or we can specify similarity level. Like I want only the cars which are at least 80% similar in one group. Okay, so you can write 80 here and that would do the job. Today let me specify with number of clusters and we want to see the dendrogram. So we'll say show dendrogram, and if you want whatever title, so cars, and case labels, so the names of the observations. So the type of the car is name of the observation, so we can have it on x-axis. And on y-axis, do we want similarity or distance? In theory we have done distance, so this time let us try similarity. This show dendrogram in one graph etc. is needed if I have too many observations, because then the graph would not be readable, so you can split it. Okay, but today we have quite less, I think only around 24 observations, so let's go ahead with only one graph. Okay. We did not store cluster. Actually what we should do is in storage cluster membership column. So let us give C11. Okay, so the membership of each car is stored here. So Audi, BMW went to one cluster, Citroen went to second cluster, Ferrari is also in the same cluster as Audi, BMW. Then Jaguar is also in the same cluster as Audi and BMW. Is it as you expect? Let us now go to the dendrogram. See, in one of the clusters only two cars are there, Trabant and Wartburg. Then this is one cluster where you have Audi, Ferrari, Volkswagen Golf, Volkswagen Passat, BMW, Mercedes, Volvo, everything like this. And then Citroen, Fiat Uno, Ford Fiesta, Hyundai, all these are Toyota Corolla, all these are in other clusters. Fine, but we don't stop here. Can we give some interpretation to these clusters? Means, can we say this cluster consists of a particular type of cars or a cars which have these types of characteristics? That is called as cluster profiling. So after getting the clusters, we are supposed to do cluster profiling so as to get better insights into the data. So what we use to get cluster profiling? So generally this is the entire procedure. So which observations got clustered at which level, etc. So that we don't need to discuss into detail right now. These two things are important. Okay, so let me first focus on cluster centroids because that is important for cluster profiling. So let me increase the font size a bit. Okay, it gets distorted, but you can figure out what columns are what. So in cluster 1, see, price wise cluster 1 is kind of towards higher side, bad price, so higher side. And economy service, so 1 to 6, and this is overall centroid. So centroid means overall average of the data. So you can see that cluster 1 and cluster 3 economy wise they are worse than average. Cluster 2 is better than average. Okay, now let us consider price. Price wise cluster 1 is higher than average. Average price was 3.24, whereas cluster 2 and 3 are lower than average. So 3 is actually much lower. So cluster 3 basically consists of inexpensive cars. Okay, design wise, again design wise cluster 1 is only doing better than average. These two are doing worse than average. So there are many parameters in which cluster 1 is doing better than average except for price. So we can say that cluster 1 consists of expensive cars which are otherwise good. Okay, economy wise, of course, economy and price they both are going to go bad. Correct, that is true. But other parameters like sportiness, safety, easy handling also it is doing okay. So these are the parameters on which cluster 1 is doing good. So expensive cars, fancy cars would go to cluster 1. On the other hand, cluster 3, everything else is pretty bad. 5.5, sportiness 5.5, safety 5.7, so it's pretty bad. Value is also bad and price is very less. So cluster 3 basically consists of very inexpensive cars which are just made for driving, no extra features. Okay, and cluster 2 is kind of intermediate. So cluster 2 consists of cars which are not that high end but not that low end also. Okay, so this is how you do cluster profiling, and this cluster profiling part is common to both k-means as well as what do you call hierarchical. Okay, this is another important table. So okay, so here we get number of observations in each cluster, then within cluster sum of squares, average distance from centroid and maximum distance from centroid. So these last three columns can be used to decide which cluster is most homogeneous or heterogeneous. So you can see average distance from centroid and maximum distance from centroid. So for cluster 1, maximum distance from centroid is highest. So cluster 1 generally is slightly heterogeneous compared to cluster 2. I won't say cluster 1 is more heterogeneous than cluster 3 because cluster 3 anyway consists of only 2 observations. So of course it's going to be least heterogeneous. Okay. When you talk about within cluster sum of squares, generally you should divide by number of observations. So you should get something like average within cluster sum of squares. Okay. So 49 by 12. So this is roughly 4 point something. 12 by 10 which is roughly 1.2 and this is roughly 0.4. Okay. 0.93 by 2, so roughly 0.4. So of course cluster 1 is more heterogeneous than cluster 2 and cluster 3 is by default it's going to be most homogeneous. Okay, so if at all you want to split say one cluster further, you should split cluster 1. Okay, another option is just increase the number of clusters here and see how things pan out. Okay, and how do you decide optimal number of clusters? So there are multiple ways available in literature. Many of them depend on within cluster sum of squares and between cluster sum of squares. So at what point the change is maximum, means going from 3 to 4 clusters, is it really worth? Is it really helping your clusters become much more homogeneous? Then only you should go from 3 to 4. Okay, so there are many criteria available in literature. Now let me try k-means clustering on the same data set. Okay, yeah, one more small thing before that. This gives me distances between the clusters. So you can see here Distance between cluster 1 and cluster 2 is low, cluster 1 and cluster 3 is very high, and cluster 2 and 3 is okay. Okay, so that tells you that cluster 2 is kind of in the middle of cluster 1 and 3. Okay. Now let us go to k-means. Cluster k-means. We want same variables to be clustered. Number of clusters, let us again go with 3. We can specify initial partition. Like I said earlier, if you carry out say hierarchical clustering first and you want to use means of those groups as seeds, then you will specify initial partition column as members coming from hierarchical, that is C11. Okay, but you don't need to do it always, so we won't do it. And we have to finally store cluster membership, so let me store it in C12 this time. C12. Okay, this output gives you similar things, but here now the cluster configurations have changed. So here the clusters are slightly more, I don't know, 14, 4, 6. So 14 cars in first cluster, 4 cars in second cluster, and 6 cars in third cluster. Okay. In terms of average distance, even with 14 cars, this cluster is okay. In terms of maximum distance also, it is only slightly worse. Okay, so the homogeneity is pretty good. Now the cluster centroids, and we'll try to see can we give similar interpretation. Now cluster 1, price wise cluster 2 is doing worst. Okay, price and economy both wise. Cluster 3 is doing okay, good. Cluster 1 is doing pretty okay. Then design wise cluster 2 is doing the best. Cluster 3 is doing much worse. And similarly sportiness. So now cluster 2 probably consists of very high-end cars, and cluster 1 consists of kind of medium. Some of the cars from the earlier cluster 1 must have shifted here, and cluster 3 consists of low-end cars. Okay, we can probably see that in the session window. So we have here, so cluster 2 we said high-end cars, see BMW, Ferrari and Jaguar. So yes, these are all high-end cars, so they are in cluster 2. And something which was earlier in cluster say different cluster, so earlier it was in cluster 1 but now shifted to again 1. So 1 we will see, is there any 1? Okay, yes, Mitsubishi. So earlier it was in expensive car category, but now it has shifted to moderate cars category. Okay. Similarly, Nissan was earlier in moderate car category, but now it has shifted to inexpensive kind of category. Okay. Because our choice of threshold also is different. Okay. So that's why every clustering analysis is going to give you different results. You have to see which one is more suitable for your data. Okay. This is very important. Similar analysis can be carried out using R. Direct commands are available for computing distance using different methods, and then using those distance functions, then we can carry out clustering and get the dendrogram. Okay, so I've done it here. We can see it. You can see it later. I'll share the document with you. I've discussed some sort of algorithm for deciding optimal number of clusters also. Now, in cluster profiling, sometimes we can get some interesting results. So here is one example on language abilities. Okay, so the study was carried out on foreign language learners, and they were trying to identify the linguistic abilities and how they contribute to learning, etc., etc. So there were different types of tests. So the tests were meant, see, listening, reading, grammar in context, vocabulary in context, and writing. And these are language aptitude variables which are going to contribute. So inductive language reasoning, paired associate memory, written text comprehension, and just memory, etc. Okay, so the results are actually interesting, and they have considered different groups So let me show you the graph. This is an interesting graph. You can read the details when I share the document with you. So here the 5 aptitude variables are on x-axis, and the clusters are actually, cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3 are as per their language abilities. So inductive reasoning, rote memory, text memory, etc. Okay, and cluster 1 is supposedly consisting of those students which were pretty good in their all these linguistic tests. Okay, so they had good intelligence and good linguistic intelligence. So you can see they have high scores in almost everything except rote memory. In rote memory, cluster 2, which is consisting of kind of medium or mediocre students, those are doing better. Maybe they are much more hardworking and they are doing better. And the third group is better at verbal intelligence, but this other type of intelligence, SRPM, so standard Raven progressive matrices, in that scale the third group is doing worse. So we can have such type of exploratory graphs also to do the cluster profiling, and that would be more insightful about our, that would give us more insights about our data. Okay, so let me stop here. Thank you.